Hi, welcome to this quick video about the Tumbril Storm. The Tumbril Storm is currently in 3.21.1's PTU. We do expect that it's going to come out probably Friday or Saturday, depending on where you are. The Tumbril Storm is a light tank. It is very small, actually quite quick, and I found it was very interesting. We'll roll the video through and we'll have a quick peek at exactly what it is that the Tumbril Storm represents. All right, the Tumbril Storm. Here it is in all of its glory. I did pull this when I was in New Babbage, so the garage is the one in New Babbage. Looking at it just from this quick walk around, you could tell that it's way smaller than the Nova, which is the other tank that Tumbril offers. If it doesn't have tracks and it doesn't have wheels, it's probably not Tumbril. So these are the quick specifications of it. We're looking at a light tank, single seat, not too big. It's only about 10.5 meters long, 7.5 meters wide, 3.6 meters tall. Probably the most important thing is the gun itself. So it is a custom twin-linked repeater. It actually punches. It's decent. It's not great, but I don't think that's what this is meant for. And we'll go into exactly why I think that this tank represents something that's pretty awesome. Here's an extra view of the components and the spaces, the voids within the Storm itself. There's the seat, there's a storage rack for more weapons, and there's the access to the components that are in the rear. So let's get this out of this and into the Corsair. Once it's in the Corsair, we'll go from there.
You are clear to launch.
All right, as you can see, this does fit in a Corsair. Now, it's a tight fit, and I'll explain a bit about that more later, but as you can see, it does fit. You kind of have to bias towards that port side to be able to walk past it, but that's what it is. The entrance and exit to this vehicle is pretty awesome too. I find it's awesome. I think that animation's great. So I pulled a Nova tank, which is the one on the right, and the Storm sitting to the left of it. As you can see, that the Nova tank is much, much larger. It does have space for 3 crew as opposed to 1, whereas the Storm only has enough space for a single seater. Height-wise, you can tell that there's a major difference between the two, and this is with the turret retracted on the Storm. It does, the turret is extended on the Storm in this version, in this mode here. As you can see, it's rised up, but when it's retracted, it's even shorter. Here's us getting into it. I love this animation. It's like getting into the mouth of the beast kind of thing, right? Once you're inside, that turret moves when you turn. I don't know if that's a feature or if that's just a bug, but it works pretty well. I love the sounds this thing makes. It's pretty crazy, and it's got the same kind of camera system that some of the alien ships have. So you're looking at like the Talon and the dropship, the Prowler. The same kind of. It's got cameras. It turns on and the screen fills up stage by stage. So here's your layout for your MFDs. Pretty standard. Nothing really crazy about that. Nothing further left or right, but you can kind of see how it all lays out. There is a self-destruct button. I wouldn't recommend pressing it. You can. So the turret is a remote turret, and it is pilotable whilst you're driving at the same time. So for this, I entered the remote turret and then started to move around like I normally would. The weapon system is a repeater, laser repeater. It's twin linked. So instead of having a single repeater on the mount, you actually have 2 repeaters. So you get that chain firing action. The weapon system itself is bespoke to the Storm. It isn't available on any other thing, and I don't believe it's removable. There's rumors that there is a anti-air variant that's got a whole lot of missiles that goes on. Whether that's a module or a whole new Storm isn't known yet. But other than that, you can see here that this thing moves fast. It is quite quick. I found that it was a bit faster than I was anticipating, and driving around was definitely an adventure. Now I did flip it over. As you can see, I've got it up on its top. I didn't keep the rubber side down, and away it went. So there's a few tricks to getting this that I learned when I was in the Nova and before auto rollover was in game. I think I've taken it out again. But what you do is you get into your turret, and then you quickly spin it around in every direction you possibly can, and that will push your your tank back into a direction that you can use it for, and then just enough so that you can get the grip of the treads. It took me a couple of tries, and I did damage it a little bit in this whole thing, but eventually I do get it back around. This is attempt 1, and now attempt 2. I think I actually get it on this one. So again, if you flip one of these over, it's not the end of the world. You can flip it back. It just takes a bit of perseverance and some finagling. But once you get that barrel to come in contact with the surface, and I think this is when it went over, yeah. So I got it over. So the turret's no longer touching, and it should right itself, which is what we did here. So as you can see, I mean, the view from the remote turret is pretty good. It weirds me out a little bit because the camera isn't on the top, it's on the side. Unless that's a targeting thing. Exiting this thing is the same as entering it in reverse, strangely enough. But I find that whole thing is awesome. It's coming in, going out, shuts up around you. It's pretty crazy. This interests me because there has been for a long time a lot of talks about what you can and can't wear into and out of a vehicle's cockpit, right? So this falls into the idea, or maybe it's a prep for, that you will not be able to enter a pilot seat in specific armor classes or armor types, or with a backpack on and that kind of stuff. What this allows you to do, you can mount a weapon in the cockpit with you, so that when you exit the cockpit, there is a weapon available. Right? There is storage on the side where you can store another weapon, and I do believe it's the large weapons, so not just the medium ones, but large weapons. Although I couldn't get it to work for this video. Maybe it's a feature that's coming. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But it has been shown that it does work. There is internal storage as well, and I'm a stickler for details. I love the small details all over this ship. So the little warning signs, the tread. I've spent some time with some tanks before, and that tread's pretty much on point, right? Thankfully, you don't ever have to change road track, so feel good about that. This is that storage. Again, I couldn't really get it to function. I don't know if I was doing something right or wrong, but it was a really quick give it an attempt. With this attempt, though, I couldn't get it to work. It looks like it should be able to mount another weapon system, a large weapon system, something like the Animus rocket launcher or the railgun, which I find would be quite beneficial on a light tank that is supposed to be used as a recon vehicle. Is your access to your components. Now it is in the rear, right? So forward fighting is the focus. You've got your shields, your power generation, and your cooler available here. Once that closes up, we'll go around to the other side now. Passing those awesome treads. I love it. I think it's great. So here we've got the other side, and this is life support, radar, and I think that's a battery, although it's not listed with the warning symbol on it and the electrical sign. My assumption would be that's a battery. Now, does that mean that that there'll be a future feature where you can run this thing without using the engines and run it off of the battery power, which would then reduce the IR and EM emissions, so that it'll be very much harder to detect? Maybe. I don't know. I love the external tubing, external piping. Those canisters are for smoke, so you can launch smoke grenades out and then conceal your position amongst the smoke grenades so you can shift or maneuver in another way. This is that turret again. Like I said, the camera's on the side, but when you go remote turret, you end up on the top, which didn't really make much sense to me. And I think maybe that's either just for the purposes of ease of use, or if that's, maybe just a mistake. Either or, hats off to the Toronto team for pumping this thing out. It looks awesome. Combat capability, though, it is a light tank. It isn't meant to be a stand-up fighter like the Nova tank is. It's not. It's definitely not for engaging far targets or large targets, or even sometimes large ships. The twin link cannons are good, but they're not large enough to do any real damage to anything. Like I said, you can get this thing into a Corsair, right? So that's the I would say the minimum sized requirement to transport this thing around. Again, you have to bias yourself more towards that port side in a Corsair so that you can walk around the vehicle on the starboard side. It took me a couple attempts to get it right, and it does have pivot steer, which is also a feature most tanks have. I think the Mule has it as well. So that really did help with being able to get this thing maneuvered and into a position where I could actually get it in and then be able to get out and then access to the front. If you haven't flown a Corsair, it is a bit of a boat, but I think being able to have something like this, or say Jumptown or any ground engagements, to be able to bring something like the Storm with us to an area is spectacular. I think it's great, and I really do like the fact that this just sits and fits. But anyway, that's just a really quick first look at the Tumbril Storm. I know I'm going to use it. I absolutely love the thing. Thanks for stopping by the channel. I really do appreciate it. If you like what you saw, consider giving us a subscribe. If you didn't like it, please leave in the comments. Tell me what I could do better. This is a progressive thing, and I am working towards getting this to be a feature set that I get to do more often. I want to do more reviews on the ships, and I want to look at it from the different combat capabilities and that kind of stuff. Give us a subscribe if you did. I am live on Twitch. You can catch that in the description below. If there's anything else you need from me, more than happy to give it to you. But other than that, thank you very much. You have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video.